Namaskar and a very warm welcome to another episode of Impact Leaders with Simply Suparna, where we bring to you inspiring stories of visionaries who are transforming lives and creating a lasting impact on society. But before I bring on this very inspirational personality onto your digital screens, I'd like to start by invoking the higher power. Shakti has held me in good stead. I will start by reciting a very old Sanskrit verse, the Saraswati Vandana, that talks essentially about dispelling the darkness that resides in our hearts with the wisdom of knowledge. Ya kundendu tusharahar dhavala, ya shubhra vastravrita, ya veena varadanda manditakara, ya shweta padamasana, ya brahmachitta shankar prabhutibhi, devai sada vandita, samam patu saraswati, bhagavati nishesh, jadyapaha. And now, without much further ado, let me introduce to you a very inspirational personality. I have the privilege of speaking with a true change maker, Professor Trilochan Sastry, a renowned advocate of the right to information movement, a former dean of IIM Bangalore, and the driving force behind the Center for Collective Development and FARMVEDA that was recognized through SABERA 2024. Through CCD and FARMVEDA, he's not only envisioned but also brought to life a future where farmers receive fair value for their crops, achieve self-sufficiency, and elevate the standard of living. He's creating an impact for over 50,000 farmers across India. Professor Sastry, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We missed you, of course, at the awards, but Kaushalendra was there, and when he spoke about you, he had such reverence in his voice and in his eyes, and I really wanted to meet up with you and understand how is it that you have managed to create CCD, FARMVEDA, what your inspiration has been, considering the fact that you are an academician. I feel you've studied in IIT Delhi, of course. You were in IIM Ahmedabad. You went on to MIT, and while you may just kind of brush it aside as saying that yes, these are some educational institutes I went to, and I'm just following my heart, but I want to understand the personality behind this whole persona of how you actually came down to creating initiatives like CCD and FARMVEDA.
See, back in the 90s, I read a book called Catalyzing Cooperatives, which contained the story of Amul and Dr. Kurian, and I liked it very much. Then I was looking for an opportunity to start that work. Then I forgot about it because nothing was going on. Then back in 2001, I was teaching in ISB for a brief while. I mean, I was there as a full-time faculty, but then I decided to do other things. So I had taken leave from IIM Ahmedabad where I was teaching, and I joined a very large anti-poverty project, which was being done all over the state of Andhra Pradesh. So I just wanted to see what they're doing because the idea was to do something at scale or to participate in something which is big. And there I found that there is a lot of scope for actually starting cooperatives. Today they are called FPOs, and there's a lot of discussion, but I continue to use the words FPO or cooperative interchangeably. And I found there's a lot of potential. So that's how we started. I had no clue on how to start an organization, but people come forward and help. So we registered, we got some funding. I had no idea what is like we decided to work in Anantapur because I moved from IIM Ahmedabad to Bangalore just to start this work. And Anantapur happens to be very close to Bangalore. And it's the second lowest rainfall in India, and it is drought prone, and a lot of seasonal migration. And in those days, there were farmer suicides. So we went there. And I was not very fluent in speaking the local language, but now I can speak it very fluently. And I didn't even know, as a joke, whether groundnut grows below the ground or above the ground. But I had a very clear idea that there is money to be made for the farmers because the farmers are not making money, but the traders, merchants, wholesalers, and value-added food the food companies are all making money. but the farmer is not making money. That means there is money, but it's not going to the farmer. And cooperative is the obvious way of organizing them so that they can do it for themselves. So that's how we started.
So tell me something. When cooperatives have such a beneficial value to be added to the farmer, especially the small landholding farmer, why, according to you, has it not become as popular as how Varghese Kurian had started Amul? Why is it that these cooperatives are only in sectors and silos, and instead the larger brands and organizations are the one who are getting the maximum benefit out of agriculture, even though 40% of our population is involved in the sector?
Actually, it's if you look at the people who are into farming, it is 50%, and those who are into ancillary services like wage labor, trade, and so on, it is well over 60% are directly involved in agriculture. The reason why these cooperatives have not succeeded will take very long to explain, but basically we haven't got the model right in spite of what Korean demonstrated. And that model basically is for the farmers, by the farmers, of the farmers, just like democracy. And Korean insisted and was able to make that happen. But the way we promote cooperatives is it is by the NGO, by the government, it is by some political people, it is by some smart guy who has come up with some schemes and something innovative. Everything is there except the centrality of the farmer, not in terms of a beneficiary, but a person who is the owner and who collectively manage and govern the. So Korean says in one place that if you want to kill a cooperative, give it subsidy and incentives. But all the schemes are based on that. So लोग पैसा खा के खुश हो जाते हैं फिर कुछ करते नहीं हैं and then somebody else is in charge, the farmers are not in charge. So that's the reason why these they don't work.
And
But
according to you, if this is something that you have already identified, so may I assume that in CCD and Farm Veda, this is not something that you focus on and you're trying to build something beyond subsidy and actually creating farmer as a stakeholder in the whole process?
we never gave any subsidy from day one. So there is a cost of operations, which is CCD. CCD is like a baby NDDB. So we do get some grants, but we don't give any money to farmers or the FPOs or the cooperatives. So we help them to set up businesses where they invest money, and we've already worked out the business model in such a way that from day zero they start making money. So the
Okay.
profits are very important,
Okay.
and that responsibility of we have made profits in all of we are working with 44 or more thousand 46,000 farmers. Every year they make profits, and the stakeholders are the farmers. We don't have any stake. There is no subsidy, there is no incentive, there's nothing. So they have to make profits. But we ensure that they do that in the beginning. And over the years, we have given more and more charge of the operations to the farmers.
And how do you intend to scale this? Say, for example, if I were to have a Farm Veda as a household name, just like how Amul has become a household name, how does one scale this?
You see, Amul, I was just checking, its turnover is a little over 50,000 crores, which is a huge thing in India. And they spend 1% on advertising, branding, marketing, which is about 500 crores. In contrast, Hindustan Levers they spend 1,500 crores, three times that amount. They spend 8 to 10% of their sales. So Amul is doing it with a very lean budget, but we need to invest that money. So right from beginning, Amul was run professionally, right from the 60s. So they invested in brand building and marketing. So unless we do that, it can't happen. Now, CCD, why doesn't it do? Because we have started Farm Veda, but we don't have anywhere near 500 crores. I mean, we don't even have like one tenth of that. Even you can say we have more like 1/100th of that. So Korean was able to raise funds. So we need to invest, and but it is pays back handsomely. Na? The whole country is proud of Amul. The farmers have become prosperous, so we have to invest.
Yeah, because I'm seeing that there's a lot of attention now with agriculture and technology, just so that it can be catalyzed. And I've interacted with entrepreneurs who are focusing on building brands for the farmers, creating e-commerce websites so that they can sell. And now FarmVeda also has an e-commerce website directly selling from the farmer. Um, uh, but what I would definitely want to understand from you is how can one make this sustainable if we're not going to be focusing on scaling, or if we're not going to be focusing on marketing. I'll give you an example.
Let me
I'm a
interrupt. We are
Yeah.
focused on scaling.
Mm,
Year on year, we grow.
mm,
We are scaling to the extent the resources and capacity we have.
mm,
If somebody gives us 100 crores, we'll go to 6 states, and then if you give us 1,000 crores, we'll go all over the country.
mm.
And these other startups that you're talking about, and I'm sure some of them will become very successful. Let them do. They get hundreds of crores sometimes, but some much of it is entrepreneur driven and agri-tech driven. We want agri-tech, we want entrepreneurship, but we want the farmers to be in charge so that they make the money and they can
Right,
invest. This
right,
model has not seeped into the consciousness of all these self-appointed do-gooders around the country.
right,
वो अपने लिए पैसा बनाना चाहते हैं, मगर शर्म आती है बोलते हुए। वो कहते हैं कि नहीं नहीं, हमको इसे सस्टेनेबल बनाना है, हमको इसको स्केल अप करना है, हम तो देश के लिए कर रहे हैं, बट उनको पैसा बनाना है। अरे सीधा बोलो यार, सच बोलो कि पैसा बनाना है। नहीं बोलते हैं, ये सब ड्रामा वर्ड, ये सब जो है। एंड यू ब्लेम आई एम, बट आई डोंट थिंक many of these entrepreneurs are smart enough to figure out all these things on their own. You have to make the farmers prosper. I'll give you an example. CHS America is a American cooperative. It is a non-dairy agricultural cooperative. CHS America, you can Google it. It is by far the world's largest cooperative. Its turnover is about 3.5 lakh crores. मतलब अमूल से 7 गुना बड़ा है. उतने farmers नहीं है. It is a cooperative. World over, you just study any country, mostly the Western democracies, the cooperatives are gigantic. Why can't we do that in this country? And if you go back and read the history, they were supportive, not आ बच्चू तू गरीब है, तुझे मुंह खोल, तुझे लड्डू खिलाऊंगा, मुझे वोट देना बाद में, not that kind of very supportive. They were very supportive government policies. See, the basic mindset is this poor person is only poor temporarily, but he or she is capable of much better. We will help them to go forward. And later on, when he makes money, he will give us taxes also. But यहाँ पे तो सबको बेचारा बना के रखा हुआ है. एंड वो बेचारों को देने के लिए देर आर कंसल्टेंट्स, देर इज वर्ल्ड बैंक, देर आर पॉलिटिशियन, देर इज अ होल ब्यूरोक्रेसी. एंड सब somebody told me, अरे आप लोग सब समाज सेवा करना चाहते हैं, नौकरशाही भी समाज सेवा करना चाहते हैं, राजनेता भी करना चाहते हैं, और ये जो ब्यूरोक्रेसी वो भी करना चाहते हैं, आप एनजीओ भी करना चाहते हैं, और इतने सालों से लगे हुए, मगर समाज का उद्धार क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? दैट्स द पॉइंट. क्योंकि हम लोगों को बेवकूफ मान के करते हैं. इफ यू रेस्पेक्ट पीपल एंड ब्रिंग आउट देयर पोटेंशियल, then thousands of people working together will create magic, and we have seen it happen in CCD, we have seen it happen in Amul. We have to have faith. You talked about spirituality. Swami Vivekananda said, the old religion said have faith in God, the new religion says have in faith in yourself. And do you have that faith? उसकी बातें ऐसे की जैसे कि मुंह पे चाटा मारा है. अब why don't we have faith in others? Because हमको खुद के ऊपर भरोसा नहीं.
correct.
The bottom line of having faith in the farmers or anybody in this country is I must have faith in myself. So we are still struggling. We
Professor
are very,
Shastri, I understand and resonate with a lot of stuff that you're saying, but the point is, we are not in an idealistic world, right? Today, the example that I was giving to you in terms of purchasing, a कच्ची धानी तेल जो 160 रुपए का मेरे को एक बहुत ही रेप्यूटेड ब्रांड बेच रहा है. एट द सेम टाइम मुझे ये अब नॉलेज पता चल रही है कि 160 तो उसकी प्रोसेसिंग के अंदर, पैकेजिंग के अंदर और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के अंदर उसका आधा कॉस्ट ही कवर हो रहा है. And but at the same time, I have that faith built in a larger brand, a larger FMCG brand. And why will I invest in this? So it is, don't you think it becomes imperative that you need to educate, and for education that kind of marketing, that kind of, the scaling up is required?
Absolutely. In fact, such people, if they were trying to sell such products in the US, their products would be banned, and if they persisted, that guy would be in jail. This is not only one example. There are so many, even very well reputed companies. They claim, then they'll say with the flavor of this and that, but उसमें वो होगा नहीं. But branding ऐसे करेंगे जैसे कि वो सब, it is made out of gold, and fooling the people. So these things should not be allowed, and our regulators are not. They harass small players, and they don't harass the big players who are not following the rules, who are not following the Food and Drug Administration (FDA). No, what is this FSSAI norms in India?
So
So we need.
what according to you can be a solution for this? Since you've also had an exposure to kind of electoral reforms and all, what do you think is missing? What peg is missing?
See, there are too many things that need to be set right. Of course, we have many things which are already good. I'm not a person who says everything is bad in India, but there are many things that still need to be set right. But in the limited time that one has in one's life, the focus is people, and particularly गरीब लोग, उनका उद्धार हो जाए बहुत है. अब सिस्टम को बदलने के लिए, that is another kind of an issue. There are, bureaucracy has to be changed, judges have to be changed, the academia where I am has to be changed, the NGO sector has to. There is no sector which does not require reform. अब उसके लिए नहीं काम करना है, गरीबों का उद्धार हो जाए बस. That's all I'm going to focus on, because
और
that is the
दूसरी
most.
चीज, आपने एक और फोकस भी पकड़ा है, जो कि आपने एक बुक टाइटल हिंदुइज्म करके पब्लिश करी है. what was the intent behind that, and does that have some kind of a connection with what you're trying to do with the farmers in the country?
In my mind, it's all the same. You see, I believe in what Vivekananda says. Vivekananda says unselfishness is spirituality. Being spiritual means being unselfish. And although he doesn't say, he hides it but doesn't succeed, it is out of compassion for people. और क्या है? और क्या है? That's all there is. Whatever talents you have, education, brains, whatever other skills and talents you use it for the greater good, out of compassion. Like the Buddha said, Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sudhaya. So there, for me, there is nothing non-spiritual. Everything is spiritual only. उसमें कोई non-spiritual है ही नहीं. Now the book is mainly because I've been reading and had the privilege of studying these texts with great people for the last 40, 50 years. And even as a young kid, even when I was in high school, I used to read these books, and I liked them. Then I felt we have such a grand religion, which the world admires, by the way. Vedanta is admired by Nobel laureates. Right now, we had this film, Oppenheimer, by philosophers from the West, of what to speak about great people like Vivekananda in India itself, or Mahatma Gandhi. So we have one of the grandest religions in the world. There is no doubt about it. But it is not being understood by people, and now the younger generation wants it in short form, in a readable form. But the scriptures are so sacred that I feel I'm not qualified to write any interpretation. So जैसे का वैसा अंग्रेजी में लिखा है. अब उसका हिंदी में भी अनुवाद हुआ है. अब तेलुगु, विच इज़ माय मदर टंग बाय द वे, उसमें भी अनुवाद हो चुका है, और मलयालम में हुआ है. अब एक मेरा दोस्त है, वो मराठी में करवा रहा है. So people should know what is the essence of our great religion. Without that,
Sorry to cut you, interject you in between, because I definitely come from a perspective wherein I feel spirituality and leadership is the only way to bring about the larger change that everybody seeks, and not from a Western or an Eastern perspective, but maybe an amalgamation of both the values, sets of values of materiality as well as spirituality. We can't just look at this in silos and think that things will change. But I also come from a perspective which does not look at isms, which doesn't look at Sanatan Dharma as a religion. It looks at it as a law. अगर मून अपना अर्थ के आसपास चक्कर खाने बंद कर जाएगा, दैट इज द धर्म, दैट इज द लॉ. यू कांट गो अगेंस्ट दैट लॉ. And if we are trying to go against that law, that's the reason why we face the kind of issues that we face in our life. And I don't know what your perspective on
I
that is.
agree. I entirely agree with you. See, there is nothing like chemistryism or physicsism,
Exactly.
gravityism. It is just gravity or physics or chemistry or life sciences now. So there is no ism. That is the eternal truth. And the invitation is ये नहीं है कि हमने तब बोला था, अब तुम लोग मूर्ख हो, मेरी बात सुनो. The invitation in the Sanatana Dharma is कि भाई आपको पसंद है तो आप भी you also not read only, आचरण, पढ़ाई नहीं,
Practice.
you follow it, you will see the results. So
Yeah.
that way it's a science. I mean, it is verifiable and repeatable. You just follow what they're saying, and it appeals to the deepest aspects of everybody's soul. सही बोल
Correct.
रहा है. I'll tell you one guy. I was the other day. I had gone to a panwala near I am Bangalore, and although this is in Karnataka, there were some Bihari labor, and शाम को दिन भर काम करके one guy was saying with great enthusiasm कि बाबा कण कण में है, दो तीन बार बोला. तो आई टर्न अराउंड एंड लुक्ड, शॉर्ट डार्क स्किन्ड गाय, वेरी शाइनिंग एंड हैप्पी फेस. तो मैंने उसका हाथ में लाया, तो मैंने कहा ये बाबा कौन है. ऑफ कोर्स ही पुट इट टू सम सेंट फ्रॉम शिरडी, बट व्हाट ही मीन्स इज कि जो आत्मा है या जो दिव्य आत्मा है या जो भगवान है या जो भी आप बोलो, वो कण कण में है. अब उसको कहाँ से समझ में आया ये. सो ये नेशनल धर्म जो है, विवेकानंद सेज नेशनल धर्म इज देयर ऑफ एवरी कंट्री, एंड इंडियाज नेशनल धर्म इज what you call spirituality. He used a word called religion. Today we distinguish, but he meant true religion. And he says India's development will come even materially if we flow along the natural lines of our national dharma, which is spirituality. So yeah, I agree with him. I mean, how can I disagree with Vivekananda? I mean, who am I to agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
All the
And
greatest.
what I share is also the diksha of my guru. I don't claim to have knowledge of all that I'm sharing with you. And I think that's the beauty of of knowledge is there for everyone to access, and through the guru tattva it is actually disseminated. I could just go on because this is also one of my favorite subjects, and the fact that we can connect this with leadership and try to bring about that kind of change. And I'm hoping that I can probably meet with you in person and have this conversation. But we'll wrap this up at this point in time, but not before I actually also share the FARMVEDA website here. Is there any way that you are open to sharing this knowledge with other people who may want to develop these cooperatives in other parts of the country? And if yes, how can one get in touch? Is there volunteering opportunity? Are there collaboration opportunities?
Yes, sure. We'd like to connect with people around the country who want to participate in this, and we will. You can share the link. We can share some contacts of people that, if you want, you can send this interview to, or whatever else, whichever other way you want to help us. We'll be happy to do that.
Okay. And what is now, in one word, the future of CCD and FARMVEDA according to you?
Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukaya. For the good of all, for the welfare of all.
Super. I don't think it could have been a better ending for this particular interaction. Thank you so much, Professor Shastri,
Thank
for
you.
doing this for us. Hoping to meet up with you again and hoping to see a lot of good work from FARMVEDA in 2025 as well.
Thank you.